Good afternoon on this very warm, sweltering day. For those who like it, I'm happy for you. I wore a special shirt today. It's a Celtic design, and it's symbolic of fire, earth, and water, some of the major elements of our universe. And since the prince is traveling the universe, I thought I'd wear it today. So we're traveling to different planets with the little prince. He visited one with a king, one with a tippler, one with a very conceited person, and the last one was a businessman. So we're going to continue on visiting planets with the little prince. The fifth planet was very strange. It was the smallest of all. There was just enough room on it for a street lamp and a lamp lighter. The little prince was not able to reach any explanation of the use of the street lamp and lamplighter somewhere in the heavens on a planet which had no people and not one house. But he said to himself, nevertheless, it may well be that this man is absurd, but he is not so absurd as the king, the conceited man, the businessman, and the tippler. For at least his work has meaning. When he lights his street lamp, it is as if he brought one more star to life, or one flower. When he puts out his lamp, he sends the flower or the star to sleep. That is a beautiful occupation. And since it is beautiful, it is truly useful. When he arrived on the planet, he respectfully saluted the lamplighter. Good morning. Why have you just put out your lamp? Those are the orders, replied the lamplighter. Good morning. What are the orders? The orders are that I put out my lamp. Good evening. And he lighted his lamp again. But why have you lighted the lamp again? Those are the orders, replied the lamplighter. I do not understand, said the little prince. There is nothing to understand, said the lamplighter. Orders are orders. Good morning. And he put out his lamp. Then he mopped his forehead with a handkerchief decorated with red squares. I follow a terrible profession. In the old days, it was reasonable. I put the lamp out in the morning, and in the evening, I lighted it again. I had the rest of the day for relaxation and the rest of the night for sleep. And the orders have changed since that time? The orders have not changed, said the lamplighter. That is the tragedy. From year to year, the planet has turned more rapidly, and the orders have not changed. Then what? Asked the little prince. Then the planet now makes a complete turn every minute, and I no longer have a single second for repose. Once every minute, I have to lamp my light and put it out. That is very funny. A day lasts only a minute here where you live? It is not funny at all, said the lamplighter. While we have been talking together, a month has gone by. A month? Yes, a month. 30 minutes, 30 days. Good evening. And he lighted his lamp again. As the little prince watched him, He felt that he loved this lamplighter who was so faithful to his orders. He remembered the sunsets which he himself had gone to seek in other days merely by pulling up his chair. And he wanted to help his friend. You know, he said, I can tell you a way you can rest whenever you want to. I always want to rest, said the lamplighter. For it is possible for a man to be faithful and lazy at the same time. The little prince went on with his explanation. Your planet is so small that 3 strides would take you all the way around. To be always in the sunshine, you need only walk along rather slowly. When you want to rest, you will walk, and the day will last as long as you like. It doesn't do me much good, said the lamplighter. The one thing I love in life is to sleep. Then you're unlucky, said the little prince. I am unlucky, said the lamplighter. Good morning. And he put out his lamp. That man, said the little prince to himself, as he continued farther on his journey, that man would be scorned by all the others, by the king, by the conceited man, by the tippler, by the businessman. Nevertheless, he is the only one of them all who does not seem to me ridiculous. Perhaps that is because he is thinking of something else beside himself. He breathed a deep sigh of regret and said to himself again, that man is the only one of them all whom I could have made my friend. But his planet is indeed too small. There is no room on it for 2 people. What the little prince did not dare confess was that he was sorry most of all to leave this planet, because it was blessed every day with 1,440 sunsets. The 6th planet was 10 times larger than the last one. It was inhabited by an old gentleman who wrote voluminous books. Oh, look, here's an explorer, he exclaimed to himself when he saw the little prince coming. The little prince sat down on the table and panted a little. He had already traveled so much and so far. Where do you come from? The old gentleman said to him. What is that big book? Said the little prince. What are you doing? I am a geographer, said the old man. What is a geographer? Asked the little prince. A geographer is a scholar who knows the location of all the seas, rivers, towns, mountains, and deserts. That is very interesting, said the little prince. Here at last is a man who has a real profession. He cast a look around him at the planet of the geographer. It was the most magnificent and stately planet he had ever seen. Your planet is very beautiful, he said. Has it any oceans? I couldn't tell you, said the geographer. Ah? The little prince was disappointed. Has it any mountains? I couldn't tell you, said the geographer. And towns and rivers and deserts? I couldn't tell you that either. But you are a geographer. Exactly, the geographer said. But I'm not an explorer. I haven't a single explorer on my planet. It is not the geographer who goes out to count the towns, rivers, the mountains, the seas, the oceans, and the deserts, the geographer is much too important to go loafing about. He does not leave his desk, but he receives the explorers in his study. He asks them questions, and he notes down what they recall of their travels. And if the recollections of any one among them seem interesting to him, the geographer orders an inquiry into that explorer's moral character. Why is that? Asked the little prince. Because an explorer who told lies would bring disaster on the books of the geographer. So would an explorer who drank too much. And why is that? Asked the little prince. Because intoxicated people see double. Then the geographer would note down 2 mountains in a place where there was only one. I know someone, said the little prince, who would make a bad explorer. That is possible. Then, when the moral character of the explorer is shown to be good, an inquiry is ordered into his discovery. One goes to see it? No, that would be too complicated. But one requires the explorer to furnish proofs. For example, if the discovery in question is that of a large mountain, one requires that large stones be brought back from it. The geographer was suddenly stirred into excitement. But you come from far away. You are an explorer. You shall describe your planet to me. And, having opened his big register, the geographer sharpened his pencil. The recitals of explorers are put down first in pencil. One waits until the explorer has furnished proofs before putting them down in ink. Well, said the geographer expectantly. Oh, where I live, said the little prince. It is not very interesting. It is all so small. I have 3 volcanoes. 2 volcanoes are active, and the other is extinct, but no one ever knows. One never knows, says the geographer. I also have a flower. We do not record flowers, said the geographer. Why is that? The flower is the most beautiful thing on my planet. We do not record them, said the geographer, because they're ephemeral. What does that mean, ephemeral? Geographies, said the geographer, are the books which, of all books, are most concerned with matters of consequence. They never become old-fashioned. It is very rarely that a mountain changes its position. It is very rarely that an ocean empties itself of its waters. We write of eternal things. But extinct volcanoes may come to life again, the little prince interrupted. What does that mean, ephemeral? Whether volcanoes are extinct or alive, it comes to the same thing for us, said the geographer. The thing that matters to us is the mountain. It does not change. But what does that mean, ephemeral? Repeated the little prince, who never in his life had let go of a question once he had asked it. It means which is in danger of speedy disappearance. Is my flower in danger of speedy disappearance? Certainly it is. My flower is ephemeral, the little prince said to himself, and she has only 4 thorns to defend herself against the world. And I have left her on my planet all alone. That was his first moment of regret. But he took courage once more. What place would you advise me to visit now? He asked. The planet Earth, said the geographer. It has a good reputation. And the little prince went away, thinking of his flower. So then, the 7th planet was Earth. Earth is not just an ordinary planet. One can count there 111 kings, not forgetting to be sure, the Negro kings among them, 7,000 geographers, 900,000 businessmen, 7,500,000 tipplers, 311 million conceited men. That is to say, about 2 billion grown-ups. To give you an idea of the size of Earth, I will tell you that before the invention of electricity, it was necessary to maintain over the whole of the continents a veritable army of 462,511 lamplighters for street lamps. Seen from a distance, that would make a splendid spectacle. The movements of this army will be regulated like those of the ballet in the opera. First would come the turn of the lamplighters of New Zealand and Australia. Having set their lamps alight, these would go off to sleep. Next, the lamplighters of China and Siberia would enter for their steps into the dance. And then they too would be waved back into the wings. After that would come the turn of the lamplighters of Russia and the Indies, then those of Africa and Europe, then those of South America, then those of North America. And never would they make a mistake in the order of their entry upon the stage. It would be magnificent. Only the man who was in charge of the single lamp at the North Pole and his colleague who was responsible for the single lamp at the South Pole, only these two would live free from toil and care. They would be busy twice a year. When one wishes to play the wit, he sometimes wanders a little from the truth. I have not been altogether honest in what I have told you about the lamplighters. And I realize that I run the risk of giving a false idea of our planet to those who do not know it. People occupy a very small place upon Earth. If the 2 billion inhabitants who people its surface were all to stand upright and somewhat crowded together, as they do for some big public assembly, they could easily be put into one public square 20 miles long and 20 miles wide. All humanity could be piled up on a small Pacific Isle. I just want to comment, please, that this story was written in 1943, so the numbers have certainly changed. The grown-ups, to be sure, will not believe you when you tell them that. They imagine that they occupy a great deal of space. They fancy themselves as important as the baobabs. You should advise them then to make their own calculations. They adore figures, and that will please them. But do not waste your time on this extra task. It is unnecessary. You have, I know, confidence in me. When the little prince arrived on earth, he was very much surprised not to see any people. He was beginning to be afraid he had come to the wrong planet when a coil of gold, the color of the moonlight, flashed across the sand. "Good evening," the little prince said courteously. "Good evening," said the snake. "What planet is this on which I have come down?" asked the little prince. "This is Earth." "This is Africa," the snake answered. "Ah, then there are no people on Earth?" "This is the desert. There are no people in the desert." "Earth is large," said the snake. The little prince sat down on a stone and raised his eyes toward the sky. "I wonder," he said, "whether the stars are set alight in heaven so that one day each one of us may find their zone again. Look at my planet. It is right there above us. How far away it is." "It is beautiful," said the snake. "What has brought you here?" "I have been having some trouble with a flower," said the little prince. "Ah," said the snake, and they both fell silent. "Where are the men?" the little prince at last took up the conversation again. "It is a little lonely in the desert." "It is also lonely among men," the snake said. The little prince gazed at him for a long time. "You are a funny animal," he said at last. "You are no thicker than a finger." "But I am more powerful than the finger of a king," said the snake. The little prince smiled. "You are not very powerful. You haven't even any feet. You cannot even travel." "I can carry you farther than any ship could take you," said the snake. He twined himself around the little prince's ankle like a golden bracelet. "Whomever I touch, I send back to earth from whence he came," the snake spoke again. "But you are innocent and true, and you come from a star." The little prince made no reply. "You move me to pity. You are so weak on this earth made of granite," the snake said. "I can help you someday if you grow too homesick for your own planet. I can—" "Oh, I understand you very well," said the little prince. "But why do you always speak in riddles?" "I solved them all," said the snake. And they were both silent. The little prince crossed the desert and met with only one flower. It was a flower with 3 petals, a flower of no account at all. "Good morning," said the little prince. "Good morning," said the flower. "Where are the men?" the little prince asked politely. The flower had once seen a caravan passing. "Men?" she echoed. "I think there are 6 or 7 of them in existence. I saw them several years ago, but one never knows where to find them. The wind blows them away. They have no roots, and that makes their life very difficult." "Goodbye," said the little prince. Goodbye, said the flower. After that, the little prince climbed a high mountain. The only mountains he had ever known were the three volcanoes which came up to his knees. And he used the extinct volcano as a footstool. From a mountain as high as this one, he said to himself, I shall be able to see the whole planet at one glance and all the people. But he saw nothing save peaks of rock that were sharpened like needles. Good morning, he said courteously. Good morning, good morning, good morning, answered the echo. Who are you? Said the little prince. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Answered the echo. Be my friends. I am all alone, he said. I am all alone, all alone, all alone, answered the echo. What a queer planet, the little prince thought. It is altogether dry, and altogether pointed, and altogether harsh and forbidding. And the people have no imagination. They repeat whatever one says to them. On my planet, I had a flower. She always was the first to speak. And we will continue next week as the little prince continues to explore the planet Earth. Maybe during the week you can you can explore planet Earth in your backyard or down the street or in a park and see what wonders you can find. Air, water, wind, earth, and celebrate these. As on Sunday we will celebrate the Feast of Corpus Christi, the Feast of the Body and Blood of our Lord. And think of what it takes, what parts of earth it takes to make bread and to make wine, and how these become sacred. Have a great weekend. And don't forget the water.